Edina Police, Fire, and Dispatch, St. Louis Park Police Department, the Bloomington Police Department, the Airport Police Department, Eden Prairie Police Department, Hopkins Police Department, South Lake Minnetonka Police Department, Hennepin County Medical Center ambulance crews, their staff and their supervisors, Minnesota Department of Public Safety and Commissioner John Harrington and Assistant Commissioner Booker Hodges, our St. Richard's Church community, the Salvation Army, and Metro Transit. I first again want to convey our deepest sympathies to the victims, their families, classmates, and the 287 School District, our community, and everyone impacted by yesterday's tragic event. In order to bring an understanding and to begin the healing process, I'd like to provide an update regarding the current status of our investigation involving yesterday's incident. The shooting was not random. The incident involved 5 self-education students. The individuals currently in custody are Fernando Valdez Alvarez, 18 years old, of Minneapolis, Alfredo Rosario Salas, 19 years old, of Minneapolis, also in custody. We have a 19-year-old victim, unfortunately a 15-year-old juvenile victim who was deceased, a 17-year-old victim who is also a juvenile who is still in critical condition. The 5 students did know each other. An altercation, possibly related to a previous dispute, took place, occurred between the 5 students near the front entrance of the high school. During the altercation, a handgun was produced and both juveniles were shot. Fernando and Alfredo immediately fled the scene in a vehicle. Both juvenile victims were rushed to the hospital, and unfortunately the 15-year-old juvenile did not survive the wounds he received due to the gunshots. The 17-year-old juvenile remains in critical condition. With the assistance of numerous law enforcement agencies and our partners, officers were able to quickly locate Fernando and Alfredo in the vehicle used in the commission of the crime. Shortly after 6 p.m., SWAT teams executed 2 simultaneous search warrants at separate addresses in Minneapolis. Fernando and Alfredo were arrested, and the vehicle in question was also taken into our custody. At least 5 additional search warrants were served late into the evening last night, including an address in Crystal, Minnesota. A handgun was recovered at one of the Minneapolis addresses and also at the Crystal, Minnesota address location. Ballistic testing will be performed on both guns to determine which was used in the tragic incident yesterday. We are confident that with this isolated incident and no lingering threats exist to our community. Both Fernando and Alfredo remain in custody at the Hennepin County Jail. We have been working with the Hennepin County Attorney's Office while these 2 individuals are in custody for review and charging of the case. We expect that charges are to be expected hopefully by Thursday afternoon. I want to convey our sincere appreciation to the students, staff, and community members and our law enforcement partners that came together to bring a swift resolution to a horrific, tragic incident. I can't speak highly enough of the numerous federal, state, county, local emergency response personnel that came to assist. It was a humbling reminder of the remarkable dedication and bravery that our first responders provide to our communities every day, especially in days like yesterday, which is in our greatest time of need. It is truly an honor to serve with you all. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Pohl. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Minneapolis Field Office, which serves Minnesota, North, and South Dakota. On behalf of the Minneapolis office, I want to express our sympathies and condolences to those affected by yesterday's horrific shooting. A young man lost his life yesterday, and others fighting for his life, and countless others have lives that are changed forever based on the trauma and the fear evoked yesterday. And so the victims' families, the students, the parents, and the broader Richfield community have our sympathies and support. Shootings in and around our schools are a troubling reality in our country, and Minnesota is not immune. Our law enforcement partners train for these incidents, and yesterday's seamless response is evidence of that training that paved the way for a rapid and collaborative response to the tragic shooting. As the FBI, we take pride in being a leader in law enforcement, but also equally take pride in being a good partner to our local law enforcement agencies across the state of Minnesota. And so yesterday was a great example of a way that we could not just ask them, do they need help, but ask, what do they need? And I was very pleased to see in some of the traffic over the email communications across agencies yesterday, numerous task force officers, team leaders and agencies asking, what more can we do? Do you need more people to respond? Whether it's technical resources, whether it's evidentiary response, whether it is investigative support or help with victim services, the FBI is committed to leveraging our resources and our capabilities to help our partners when there's a local law enforcement challenge. And so we're very proud to be a working partner with the Richfield Police Department and with the other federal law enforcement agencies that have a presence across the state of Minnesota. And so I close by just saying, again, we're so proud of the rapid and collaborative response that occurred yesterday, not only what was done, but how it was done. And again, we stand in solidarity with those that were negatively impacted, the victim's family, the students, the parents, and the community, and we'll continue to stand with them to ensure justice is sought for those responsible. Thank you.
I'm William McCrary, MCC RARY. I am the Special Agent in Charge for ATF for the St. Paul Field Division, which is Minnesota, North and South Dakota, and the Western District of Wisconsin. I echo what the Chief and SAC Paul had to say, and ATF was very pleased to be able to partner under the Chief's leadership to assist yesterday in this tragic event. We are committed to helping all federal, state, and law enforcement partners who are having an impact from gun violence, wherever it's at, however it's at. We will be, ATF is assisting with the weapons part of the investigation, and the police department remains the investigative lead on that. And we'll take questions later on.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandy Lewandowski, Superintendent, Intermediate District 287. What we know already is that the days ahead will be some of the most difficult that we've experienced for the South Education Center community. Our students and their families are hurting. Our staff are hurting. The members of our safety team and others who first responded to our students' injuries are hurting greatly. The trauma they experienced will be with them the rest of their lives. It will take our school community time to grieve and time to heal. And that's exactly what we'll be focused on. Yesterday, we lost a student. Another student is in critical condition, as you've heard. Their lives were just beginning. I am devastated. We are all devastated. Today and tomorrow, we'll be working with our school staff, participating in restorative circles, telling the stories of the trauma they experienced, being in community with their colleagues for processing, for support, and to begin the healing process. Tentatively, on Friday, we will welcome students back to the extent that they are ready to come back. As educators, we have one focus, and that's the students and the staff that support them. We will have robust mental health support waiting for students as they arrive and throughout the day. I have been, frankly, overwhelmed by the outpouring of the mental health community across the state who have all reached out to offer their support. We do recognize that some students will be best served by returning to their normal routines. So we'll be flexible to support all of our students' needs and those of their families. As you've heard, we also are grateful for the outpouring of support from the many, many partners and agencies here in the Richfield community and across the greater metropolitan area. If something this tragic can be seamless, that's what happened yesterday, and I will forever remember that as we go forward. Mental health partners, the county, the city of Richfield, the education commissioner's office, and others, Governor Walz, Commissioner Mueller, Mayor Reagan Gonzalez, joined me and Board Chair Crystal Brockie at the South Education Center this morning. It's clear that they want to do everything possible to support our school district in actionable ways. Our district is a trauma-responsive and healing-centered school district. In the midst of such violence, it's sometimes hard to remember to go back to those core beliefs. While no school community should ever have to go through what we did yesterday, I can tell you that we have some of the best support systems and mental health professionals and resources available to help us through this tragedy. Our students' safety is our most important responsibility. Our focus over the next 2 days will be to coordinate safety planning in partnership with the Richfield Police Department, our school leadership team, our safety staff, and mental health teams will be working over the next 2 days to prepare for students when they are ready to come back. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Maria Regan Gonzalez, the mayor of Richfield. As everybody knows, it's been an absolutely challenging 24 hours for the entire Richfield community. Everybody says this, but you have that feeling. You see the news and you don't think this is going to happen in your community, and unfortunately it does. None of our communities are safe from what happened yesterday here in Richfield. We lost one of our beautiful youth, young leaders, one of our students, and there's nothing we can do to bring him back, and there's nothing that will fill the voids in the hearts of the family, of his friends, of the Richfield community. I know that he loved football, he loved to be with his friends, and was respected and a part of our community here in the schools in Richfield, as well as more broadly. He should have had a lifetime of joy and happiness and growth ahead of him. My deepest condolences go to the family members and all of his friends. Additionally, as Chief Henthorne and the superintendent said, we have another young leader who's in critical condition, and so many staff, teachers, students, and community members that are traumatized and struggling right now. A school should be a place that every student feels safe and comfortable, that our staff and our teachers feel safe and comfortable and protected. And that was shattered yesterday for all of us after the event. As a community, we have to make sure we're doing every single thing possible to help the success and the safety of our students and of our families. This morning, as the superintendent said, Governor Walz joined us and we met with the school staff to express our support on behalf of the entire Richfield community, and to know and let them know that we are all in this together, and we're in this for the short-term healing and the long-haul community change across Richfield, but across the region and state as well. As Chief Henthorne said, this is an isolated event that happened, but our community is asking and wondering, is our community safe? I want to assure everybody that our Richfield Police Department, our city leaders, our fire, our school districts, our staff, and all the leaders and the families in our community work together to keep our community of Richfield safe. In Richfield, we are a close-knit community. Our tagline is the urban hometown. And that means so many things to so many people. It means safety, it means security, it means compassion, it means strength. And right now, we need to remember to put that into action after yesterday's tragic event, to be strong and to take care of one another. Like many of our residents, I'm still processing this tragic event that took place, and I'm connecting with the members and the community and the families impacted. If you are struggling, please reach out to your neighbors. Please reach out to your friends and family. As the superintendent said, there's so many resources that have come from all over, mental health resources and support for our community as well. As heartbreaking as this is, I know the Richfield way, I know the urban hometown way, and I know that we're going to get through this together, and not just this incident, but change to improve the conditions for all of our students in our community. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, Chief. We understand that the dispute started inside the school and then, I guess, carried outside where the shooting happened. Is that correct?
According to our investigation, I think the dispute occurred outside.
The dispute occurred outside?
Yeah.
Is it your belief that the students, the suspects, have those guns inside the school at some point?
That has not been verified through our investigation at this point. We're still looking into that, so I don't have that information at this time.
And also, did you originally go to the middle school instead of the SEC?
Some staff did. The initial call that came out was at the Richfield Middle School, which is about a block and a half away. Some resources went there. However, that call was quickly corrected, and officers who were en route went right to SEC.
And you do not have an SRO in the SEC right now, correct?
No, we do not.
Chief, were both of the guns recovered associated with the suspects who were arrested?
That we're still investigating. There were guns recovered at the scene, and obviously, once we do ballistic testing and other testing, we'll determine that.
What has been the history between the 5 students who were involved in the shooting?
At this point, I know they're acquaintances. I don't have really any more to share than that.
Were all 5 students at South Education Center?
Yes, they were.
Can you clarify the ages of the students involved, including the one that's in the hospital?
Yes, I can. So the ages of Alvarez is 18 years old. Solis is 19 years old. We have a 19-year-old additional victim. The deceased is a 15-year-old. And another victim at the scene who's in critical condition is 17 years old.
Can you spell the names of the 2 suspects?
Alfredo Rosario Salas, ALFREDO, ROSARIO, SOLIS, and then Fernando Valdez Alvarez, FERNANDO, VALDEZ, hyphenated ALVAREZ.
Are you guys thinking about finding the suspects, given that there doesn't seem to be any video footage of the shooting itself? How are you guys able to gain the trust of the community members to let you guys know what you guys needed to know in order to find the suspects?
I think from information that we gathered at the scene upon our first response and talking with people and some of the evidence we collected, but also the community coming forward, I think we were able to take the individuals into custody within 24 hours. I think it's an effort from the community, from all the resources we had at the scene, and from our staff there.
And to clarify, Chief, all 5 students were enrolled at SEC, is that
Yes.
what I heard you say?
Do you have any idea where these guns came from?
We're still investigating that.
And Chief, you said you had 2 guns that you found with the suspects. Were there guns found also at the scene of the shooting with the victims?
That we're still investigating. I don't believe there were guns at the scene.
What kind of guns were they?
I can't get into that at this point.
I have a question for the superintendent. I know recently you removed metal detectors from SEC. Do you have any plans to revisit that decision and possibly reinstall those metal detectors?
In a situation like this, we review everything. What we know works is a trauma-sensitive, relationship-building type of approach for our students. So that's our biggest focus right now on what our students need.
Was there a separate gun incident back in September?
We did have a student, a high school student, bring a weapon with no intent to the building. We discovered it in the afternoon, and it resulted in the weapon being released to us.
Was that September of last year?
This past fall, yeah.
And I know you replaced the SRO with, is it a student safety coach? Coaches, can you explain what that is?
Absolutely. What we have is a student population that's very diverse and with a lot of needs. And a number of years ago, we reviewed our partnerships with a variety of school districts across our region. We have school districts in Brooklyn Park, in New Hope, in Minnetonka, as well as here in Richfield. And with those three, the first three, we had partnerships. We made a determination that a model that focused on mental health and didn't stigmatize mental health was the model that was best for our students and for our families. So we have hired a number of what we entitle school safety coaches and have them positioned in those buildings. That's not to say we don't work closely with local police. In fact, whenever a need arises, we call 911. We work with each of those local departments, but we do have a model that's known as the school safety coaches.
Do you guys believe you guys have enough resources for mental health?
That's a subject that we've been talking with the commissioner and the governor and many legislators about. Our population of students, many have significant mental health needs, and we do not have the kind of support on an ongoing basis to meet those needs. It's a goal of this legislative session and part of the governor's budget to focus on that. We certainly support that and heartily endorse any kind of help that we can get to provide the students what they need.
And do you believe mental health played a role in the shooting?
That would be beyond my ability to answer right now.
For parents that are hesitant about sending their kids back to school after this, what would you tell them?
The parents that we've been in contact with have been very supportive and grateful for the support of our staff. I want to commend our staff who, in the climate they were in, focused on students, got them to the reunification site. The beginning feedback I've got is parents are very grateful for the staff and their support.
Are you releasing the names of the victims?
Pardon me?
Are you releasing the names of the victims?
That would be a police question.
One more question for you, Superintendent. What are the demographics of the students, and how will the mental health services being provided in light of the shooting? How will it meet their culturally specific needs?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. So, what are the demographics of the students who go to the school, and how will mental health services that are being provided in light of the shooting will be tailored to meet the specific cultural needs of those students?
Yeah, sure. So as an intermediate district, we serve 11 West Suburban school districts in that South Education Center that's primarily divided into students who come with significant special education needs and an area learning center program, as well as an early learning center partnership. So we could have students come from any school district via their member districts, or in the case of the Area Learning Center, we can have students who self-enroll. That was the case in this particular building. So we have a very diverse population of students based on disability, based on race, based on social economic situations, and each of those students may require a very customized approach, or based on their disability, it may be best, as I mentioned, that they get back into a routine. Routine may be the best mental health support they can have. So we have around 200 students in that building, and we have our mental health teams working together as we speak in trying to develop that plan.
I have a question for the chief. Can you clarify, I think I heard 3 victims. Can you clarify that part, just how many victims there were, and how many rounds of gunfire?
That I don't have the answer to. That's still under investigation. There were 3 victims. 2 were transported to HCMC.
What happened to the third victim?
I'm sorry.
What happened to the third victim?
The third victim received some minor injuries at the scene.
From gunshots?
That we're still investigating.
And Who was that victim? Was that the 19-year-old?
Yes.
And who was that? Was that a student at the school?
Yes, they were all students at the school.
And are you releasing that person's name?
No, we are not.
Are you releasing any of the victims' names?
No, we are not, because the case is still under investigation. When we made arrest this fast, obviously, we're still investigating this incident and putting everything together to meet with the county attorney and present the case to the county attorney's office.
And Chief, did you say that only one of the guns that you recovered was fired?
No, I don't. We're looking at all the guns now that we've recovered to run ballistic testing with the help of the FBI, the ATF. So we're looking at that. That's still under investigation.
And just to clarify, sorry about this, 17-year-old is in the hospital, victim, 15-year-old deceased, and I believe the third victim, the age. Can you just clarify those three victims and their ages one more time?
Yes,
Thank you for that.
that's okay. So a 19-year-old victim, a 15-year-old juvenile victim who was deceased, and then a 17-year-old juvenile victim who was in critical condition at the hospital.
Chief, I have a question for you. How do you support, how is the community and your department specifically supporting the families of the victims who are affected by this crime, especially given one of the victims' family members, I believe, is currently incarcerated?
We're working with our elected officials to make sure that we can provide the resources to the victims' families. The superintendent and I talked yesterday. We're here to provide any resources that we can, whether it's through our faith community, through our police department, to the families of those victims.
Two more questions.
Where did you find the addresses? Were the suspects together?
No, the suspects were not together, and through some investigative leads, we were able to obtain the addresses of the known locations of the victims, or the suspects, excuse me.
How long after did it take you to find the suspects?
I don't have an exact time frame on that. It was pretty quick after the incident occurred.
And again, was there any video, surveillance video, anything that may have captured any part of this incident?
We're still looking through video that we did capture. Obviously, it's less than 24 hours ago. We're sifting through all the video information that we have to determine if there's anything on video of the incident.
Are you able to say if one of the victims has a relationship to Cortez Rice?
Not at this time. Again, the case is still under investigation. We're still piecing everything together to make sure that the individuals that we took into custody last night get charged in a short period of time.
All right. If you guys have any other further questions, you can reach out to me. I think most of you, I can give you my contact information. Otherwise, you can reach out to the schools or our police information officer, Brad Drayna. So thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
We're just listening live to the news conference of the school shooting that happened yesterday at a Richfield school, listening